So, after learning that they were covering up systemic sexual abuse in the foster care system in my community, the next terrible thing that I experienced was pretty much the same circle of oppressors, just a few different players. Killed off my grandfather. I tried to fight for him till the end, but they were more powerful than I, and he ended up in hospice, and he passed away right on time, right on their timeline. So there was a whole whack of nonsense went on with that. I called in the OPP, and it just ended up being way more cover-up. So then my health was failing through the years, and I was always being refused critical health care services, and everything was blamed on my mental health. And so I kind of just kept puttering away at my own advocacy and research, and I began seeing that there's definitely a divide and conquer agenda at play, that all the different races are being pitted against one another. It doesn't matter what color we are, what religion we have. We all have literally the same slave masters at this point, and that's what they are. They have been running a slave populace for quite some time now, and we really have to wake up to that and liberate ourselves from it. The advocate and patriot and social warrior groups, or social justice warriors, they many of them are very good people with good hearts and good intentions, but like many good things in this world, it gets taken over by this darkness that's at play. So most of the groups end up getting infiltrated, and people end up having their characters assassinated, and they're blackmailed, and there's all kinds of wonderful stuff goes on with the advocate and patriot groups. So then the UN has the power to stop child abuses and wars and human rights violations. They seem to be saving that power for just the right time. I know that me and myself and several advocates in Ontario and in Canada and North America and Australia and all over the world, we've networked, we've done our part, we've tried very hard to get the laws changed, and to have the laws that do exist applied to help children in the foster care system. And there just is, they have total control of the courts. If something isn't supposed to change, it just won't. Period. So Canada's child welfare system is transforming into more of a child protection system, and that's in line with the United Nations. And that's how we see child protection workers getting away with nearly anything, because it used to be that they had to be social workers, and the law still calls for social work. In the area of child protection, child welfare, child protection is a limited duty. It's, removing a child if needed, and making sure it's at a place of safety. Beyond that, the duties are social work, and that's become very convoluted here in Ontario, and I would assume everywhere else. So if this agenda with the United Nations is so wonderful, the question then is, why all the deception? Why wasn't it all unfolded with this glorious hoo-ha and, informing the people, and we all got on board? Instead, it's being implemented in stages and with a nefarious sort of silence. So, we have to start making decisions about how we want to come out from under this beast, and contracting with them is very dangerous, and income tax is voluntary. I guess it's an option for you to consider, that perhaps to defund the oppressors, and if we feel the need to protest, perhaps that's better done at the Vatican Embassy and the Masonic lodges and the Crown offices. We need to call the Masons out for conflict of interest. If they're in the government or the courts or wherever they are in our systems, they need to be called out. The government ministries, wherever they're hiding, call them out. It's conflict of interest to be serving a foreign entity and to be serving our local, provincial, and federal governments. So I really do believe that if we build it, others will come. Most of the systems are failing the people, and child protection services are, in my opinion, very terrorist at this point. By definition, they've just become a rogue terrorist organization. And we have a duty to protect the children in our community, and as well as elders and families and otherwise vulnerable. We can get on the local boards of places that matter, Children's Mental Health, CAS. I'm not really a fan of this avenue, but we've got to somehow be checking on these people until we have control of the systems. So whoever can get on the boards or run for local governments, anything in that way, we need those kind of eyes out there until we rebuild or start another system. So calling the Masons out, though, is critical. The fraternities, secret societies, anyone that with a potential conflict of interest. We have to take care of one another. There's food shortages and lockdowns are likely imminent through this. We're looking at alien agendas, transhuman agendas, all at the same time. There's so much craziness out there. So we're in for a bumpy ride, but we can do this. We just have to realize who and what's at play, and do our best to keep putting one foot in front of the other, while being just a little more tolerant of one another, understanding that we all have our respective traumas. These last few decades have been terrible and very difficult on everyone. There's so many children and youth processing through this transgender agenda, and that's very hard on all of society. It's going to take a lot of love and patience to get through that one. But we can get through this as a group of humans with an invested interest in just peace and love and self-governance. We've had enough of this tyranny. So I am confident that we can do this together, and we just need to learn about our history and take back our own power in our local communities and work together and just call people who are hiding in the sidelines and in the darkness, call them out into the light of the public. And once we get started with this process, I'm confident that we can have some great success and take our communities back and protect our families. Thank you for watching.